Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in another edition of Deportes Nation. We've been gone for a little while, but we're back. I'm Alex Parra, and it's always a joy and a pleasure to be part of this podcast. Before we go too much further, let me welcome in, I'll call her my co-host, but you'll find out eventually, ladies and gentlemen, that she wants this to be her show, but I won't talk about that now. Let's welcome in the lovely and talented Ashley Rodriguez. Ashley, first of all, good day. How are you?
Hello, Alex. Hello, everyone. Oh, man, it feels so good to be back. And yes, Alex, it is my show.
I know.
Make it happen. Help me along the way, make me laugh. No, I'm totally kidding. It really is amazing to be back on air with you, Alex. So much has happened in our world. My gosh, I feel like I kind of have to dust off a little bit of, what would happen last time, what we talked about last time. But man, our world, 2020 has been completely crazy. Our world has been completely flipped upside down with COVID-19. Even the sports world, Alex, so much has happened.
It's been a crazy year, Ashley, and I'm honored to be back on the air with you. And we want to thank all the people that make this podcast a reality. And yes, we have a history. We've worked together in different formats. And we wanted to relaunch this actually before the end of this 2020 because so much is going on. Like you mentioned, not only is the COVID pandemic a worldwide a reality, unfortunately for many. In the United States, over 200,000 people have died. That gives you context to the world of sports and how it's changed. Leagues have changed. We just had the NBA Finals in a cocoon, in a bubble in Florida. Major League Baseball is off, if you will, on their normal schedule. MLS, NFL, every league at different levels has been affected by this. And so has Ashley. And maybe this is a good place to start. Sports in general are no longer what they used to be. And let me preface that by saying that to me, when I grew up, sports, and I still believe that today, sports is an entertainment industry. Sports are here to help us in many ways learn about winning and losing, competing, having heroes, hard work pays off, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But it's also big business. It's also a way for an industry to thrive and grow. And in the past, Ashley, there was a separation, for the most part, between what athletes did on the field and what they did or talked about or believed off the field. And those days have changed. For better or worse, we can judge that as we go into this. But clearly, sports this year, because of COVID, and I'll call it social activism, are definitely different, right? Right, Ashley?
Absolutely, Alex. Oh my goodness. Where to begin? Because first of all, I miss sports, throughout this whole entire time.
And sports miss you. Sports miss you. I talk to sports and they miss you too.
Well, I'm glad. Again, so much has happened. Where to begin? COVID-19 completely flipped not only our country upside down, but the world upside down. We were without sports for a couple of months, almost a full year now. It wasn't until August of 2020 that we started to see sports emerge again. I completely agree with you, Alex. Sports has and always, hope that it will be an escape for us. It's entertainment. People, I will say this, people of different backgrounds, of different ethnicities, from all over the world, join in to cheer on one team, and it's competitive, but it's fun competitive. That's really where we rally together and just sit back, drink a couple of cold ones, laugh, tailgate, eat some good food and cheer on your team. That's something that I feel is always something that we will have in common. And today, like you said, social activism, so much has been brought into the game that, there's no denying that stuff has changed.
Well, it's interesting. Yes. And let me give you my take on this. There is an old school way of approaching sport. And let me tell you what that is. Exactly what you said. Regardless of our political, social, cultural differences or similarities, we all could get together, tailgate. It's a great analogy, and enjoy that event. These days, Miss Ashley, I believe because of the political environment, because of us agreeing or disagreeing with a given athlete, that's no longer possible. As we get ready for this presidential election, I hear and I see people who literally cannot be in the same room together if they don't agree with each other politically. And that's a shame, because I fundamentally believe that we have so much more in common than we're different politically, socially, culturally, etc. And that hurts me, especially in this country, Ashley, where we have been brought here together, many of us immigrants, many of us with hope that we can have a better life. And now, if we go to our corners and if we don't talk to each other, I think that's a big problem.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree with you. With everything that has happened in our country, especially since a lot of things have been, brought to light in 2020, with the Black Lives Matter movement, or, even last year and years past, the Me Too movement, there's just so much happening, Alex. And, I really don't want us to lose, and this is just me, I don't want us to lose focus of how we all come together during a sporting event. And, we just have fun and it's entertaining. Now, there are players who have made it, part of their job almost. We see it in the MLB and the NFL and the NBA, more so now. We just recently had, the NBA finals. And I just want to bring in a couple of statistics. Congratulations, first and foremost, to the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James really did bring that win home for the Los Angeles Lakers. And just a couple of things, Alex, just how much politics has affected sports. Well, here's a couple of statistics that I pulled. In Game 6 this year, where the Los Angeles Lakers won, they had the fewest amount of television ratings compared to years past. This year alone, 5.6 million viewers tuned in, compared to last year in Game 6 in the NBA Finals with Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. It was an astonishing 18.3 million viewers.
Wow.
And even taking it a couple of, years past, back in, with Michael Jordan and with the 1998 Chicago Bulls, Alex, 36.9 million viewers turned in.
Sure.
So there's no denying that, when you bring politics into sports, it really affects things. It really makes a shift in the sports world, in our world. And, when the times when we've come together to cheer on a team, now because of politics, even within fans within the same team, there's division there.
There is. So one conclusion we can start drawing from social activism is that a league sanctioning this, and again, let's not get into the merits of Black Lives Matter. Let's not get into the merits of any of this. We can and we will throughout our podcast. But the reality is, taking a position also requires knowledge, number one, and second, there's a consequence to that. And one of the consequences I think we can draw, at least short term, Ashley, is that if you take a political position and your league is defined as a political organization about certain things, and I'll get into the NBA in a second, that there's a consequence that people are going to tune out. Do you think these leagues, and I'm using that word, these leagues, NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, do you think they are ready for this? Because there is a direct consequence. If I today on this podcast go off on one political tangent, you're going to have people that attack me or that love me, but probably not any that can accept my position, respected, and balance it out. My point is, the NFL has made its choice. The NBA has made their choice about what they're going to advocate, but there's a consequence to that. And eventually, what happens if it hurts their business? Do you think they'll pull away and say, oh, my bad, never mind? Or do you think they're going to stick to their guns?
I think, Alex, and this is just me, there needs to be some sort of compromise. Because after all, we go into the discussion, do players have rights, and by that I mean freedom of speech.
They do. They do. I have no doubt about that.
Exactly, they do. We all do. But when you bring it into the workplace, that's where things start to shift, right? We as journalists, as reporters, we should and we have a duty to be completely unbiased and just deliver the facts as is.
That's changed too. That's changed too. But go
exactly.
ahead.
Yeah, it absolutely has. Now with players, they're not staying so quiet. It's like, hey, this is who I am. I play for this team, but this is who I am. And in a way, it's very empowering. But like you said, there's consequences. I believe that there should be some sort of compromise. I am huge on communication, as are you. And I believe that the message is important. Any type of message that you feel that you need to deliver to your audience, to your fans, is important. If you truly believe that, it's important. However, the way you deliver that message is just as important, because the way that it is received, it's going to determine, the consequences of, your fan base, the viewers that tune in, business at the end of the day.
Business at the end of the day. And you said it. And as much as one, and I'll give you my MBA take, is interested in social justice, is interested in improving racial relations, is interested in upholding minority rights, the NBA contradicts itself, Ashley, in my opinion. I get the support for Black Lives Matter from the point of view of the NBA. But how can they completely disregard the democratic movement in China, in Hong Kong, pretend it doesn't exist? Just this week it was announced that Daryl Morey is stepping away from the Houston Rockets. When he advocated in some way democracy for Hong Kong, for certain parts of China, he was basically blackballed. It was the beginning of the end, in my opinion. The NBA and the owner of the Rockets, Tillman Fertitta, they didn't want to lose financially. They didn't want to be affected on the business side. So that tells me clearly there's no ifs, ands, or buts about this. The NBA, the Rockets care about the finances first. And I get it. It's a business. So they called out Daryl Morey. He never again spoke about it, or will. Maybe one day we'll get the true story. But how is it now okay to advocate other positions? I guess it's because the pressure of business as well. If they didn't do it, then they would lose their fan base. So it's business first, business second, and by the way, business last.
Right. And Alex, I had mentioned a compromise. Here's my compromise for this. We have freedom of speech. Here in the United States, we are blessed and privileged to have that be our First Amendment right, freedom of speech. So my compromise for this, and even myself as a reporter, as a public figure, whenever we have our own personal social media platforms, we have our website. When it comes down to business, let's focus on business. When it comes to playing a game, let's focus on that. I feel that players, if they truly feel strongly about, a certain movement, a certain issue, let's make it possible for these players to either, form some sort of organization outside of the game, outside of the court, outside of the league. And we as the media, get with their publicists, get with their people, and it's like, hey, we're holding a press conference about this. Or, there's so many players, for example, here in the Houston Astros, there's a couple of players who are very involved with Children's Cancer's organization, and we, there are times where the Astros take a couple of minutes to, just let that be known within the game, at the beginning of the game. But more so, these players have their own platforms that they're able to use to their advantage and to, practice their freedom of speech on there. And I think that is a good compromise, because we're not silencing them. We're not taking away their rights. But, if we don't pay to go and view their political propaganda, and that is a reality. And then the other thing is, Alex, is that facts are facts. Here are the statistics right here. 5.6 million compared to the 18.3 million last year that tuned in, it's affecting business. So that in turn affects their paycheck. And if that's also something that they don't care about, well then, maybe they might just play for free within a couple of years, which I doubt it. I doubt that LeBron James is going to want to play for free.
Look, to me, LeBron James is not Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick took a stand He has suffered for it, but he continues to advocate a position. I may be wrong about LeBron. Maybe he really will eventually be a leader when it comes to that. But he isn't, in my eyes, in this moment. He's a great, if not one of the greatest basketball players of all time. There's absolutely no doubt about that. His championships, his career speaks for itself. But I do not, from my perspective, look at LeBron and think, oh, that's where I'm going to go to get my dosage of social consciousness. That's where I'm going to go to get my dosage of guidance as to what I should think or believe. I frankly don't. I can't. I get it. He's a great athlete, like there are many others in different sports. But I, from my perspective, look at him and thinking he is business first right now, and good for him. So I give it that context. I'm not dismissing it. I'm not dismissing even, and like we mentioned from the top on this podcast, we're not getting into the merits of any social movement yet. We will eventually. But today, no. The point is, do athletes, do leagues, now that they've changed. And by the way, the genie can't be put back in the bottle. I think this will change forever. As much, Ashley, as you say there should be a compromise, I don't think that's ever going to happen again. Because you can't stop it. What is next? And I'm not even getting into the merits of the positions they're advocating. This only continues. This doesn't improve. And if we're not careful in our society, Ashley, and by the way, and there are things that are obvious, and I want to be clear on this point. Racism is wrong. Anybody that's discriminated against for their race, for their culture, for the color of their skin, is wrong. It's not permissible. It's not allowed. It should not continue. Period. But we've got to, the word you use, Ashley, is balance that message, which I believe is universal. I don't think anyone could say no, racism is right. That's just crazy. But balance that with how we all, as a society, slowly, little by little, accept this and understand it and live it. There are some people to this day, Ashley, that cannot stand certain things the way people are, certain cultures. Look at us as Latinos. There are still people in this country who believe we shouldn't be here, that anyone who was an immigrant to this country shouldn't be here. I think you do it the right way. I think you do it through the rules that exist, and you're here and you do it the best way you can, and you're a contributor to society. Obviously, if you're a criminal, you shouldn't be here, and those criminals should be caught and should be removed. Period. That's my position, and I know I'm going to get a lot of negative feedback for that. But my point is there has to be a balance in speaking up for what's correct, for what's right, but not also, I think what you're trying to say in many ways, Ashley, is beating people over the head with it every second of the entertainment, which is the game.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I completely agree. First and foremost, yes, let's make that very clear. Racism is wrong. It doesn't matter if, you're black, white, Latino, Asian, whatever you may be. Like I said, that's what's so fun about sports. We all get together and just, share a common excitement, a fun, a cause, and we're cheering on the same team. So, yes, I completely agree with you, Alex. There are people each and every single day who are fighting for something better, and we applaud that. The message here is, I'm curious what our fans think, what our listeners have to say about this. Should organizations like the MLB, NFL, NBA continue to push, this type of social activism, like you said, Alex, or should we completely disregard that, or, just, compromise balance, sure, like we've both said.
Sure.
It's something that is definitely left up for discussion. At the end of the day, I completely agree with you on this. I'll let you have this one, Alex. I'll agree with you on this one.
For once. This may be the first and only time that we agree on Deportes Nation, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is something that we should all agree on. Let me just add that. This is something that we should all agree on. Racism is wrong.
Absolutely.
Point blank. There's no debating that. If you want to debate that, well, this might not be the show for you. I don't know.
Well, no,
or
help us
for it.
Yeah, or help us understand why you would have a contrary position on this. I still believe one of the takeaways from this year, from this situation, and on this show, we're going to be as respectful as we can, as we should, and listen. Part of this change, and it's a big change. It's not only COVID. It's not only social activism. What a year it's been, Ashley. It's that we need to learn to listen to each other. Presidential election is literally right around the corner. We'll be talking about that, its ramifications, regardless of who you vote for. I'll leave you with this on that point, Ashley, because the show obviously is going to grow and go in different directions. But voting to me is so important. You and I are both advocates of voting and participating. To me, it's simple. Don't bitch or complain if you don't participate. If you're not taking the time to register and educate yourself on the candidates and vote, you should have, in my opinion, very little right to protest or be upset. Do something about it. Do something about it. Your vote counts. Your vote makes a difference.
Exactly. It doesn't matter what party you're going for here. And at the end of the day, we all bleed red. That's what I tell people. I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, we all bleed red. We're all in this together. We're all in the same boat.
Red is in blood, not as in Republican. That's what you're saying, right?
Exactly. we are all human beings, just trying to make a better world, I hope. We're all just trying to create positive change. And so let your voice be heard. It's super important. Don't ever let anyone tell you that, your voice doesn't matter. Your voice is not important. It matters. It's important. Go out there and vote. Be the change you want to see in the world. I'm going to go ahead and take it over a little bit here, Alex. Speaking of other controversies, the Houston Astros, I think you know where I'm going with this. We are fans of the Houston Astros. Well, at least I am. I don't know about you, Alex. I don't know.
Yes, of course. No. I've been blessed to work. I've been blessed to work with the Astros, and yes, I'm a big fan of the Astros.
The Houston Astros, Alex, they are back in the playoffs for the fourth consecutive year, fighting for their chance to be in the World Series again. Last night, against the Tampa Bay Rays, amazing game. It was a nail biter. I will say it was a nail biter, and so we lived to fight another day going into Game 6. Alex, I have to bring into the question, if the Astros make it to the World Series, do you think that they're going to be able to move past all the controversy of last year of, with the signs and, the cheating
the
scandal?
Cheating scandal. Just say it, Ashley. They cheated.
Okay, fine. The cheating scandal. Gosh.
Can they get past it? I think they have to. I'm cynical in the sense of I don't believe the Astros, have been or will be the last and only ones. Remember, scandals in Major League Baseball have gone from the steroid era to the sign stealing scandal to other things. And I don't think they'll be the last ones. I think teams in general, in every sport, justify themselves in saying, hey, this gives me the edge, the advantage to win. Will they be able to get past it? I don't think they will short term. I think eventually it will pass, and it'll be a memory, and it'll be but look at it. Look at the way the team has changed, at least in the front office. The players are still there, still competing at a high level. Obviously, they're still behind, but 2 wins away from getting to another World Series, which would be a major accomplishment under the circumstances. To get past it, I don't know. I think there's still an asterisk there that people will say, well, remember this, and that cloud. That's the way I'll put it, will hang over them for a while. Like the steroid era is hanging over many players, Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, etc. It will continue hanging over them for a while until the next generation figures out, you know what, it didn't matter, or whatever judgment they pass in the future. There are certain scandals like gambling on your own team, the Pete Rose situation, gambling, that I don't think will ever go away. This one to me, Ashley, in my mind, cheating is wrong, period. It exists. I'm not naive enough about it. So I don't know yet. I think it's inconclusive. Regardless of whether they win or lose, people are still going to doubt whether they did it legitimately.
Yes, absolutely. No, cheating is wrong. Look, I love my Houston Astros, but cheating is wrong. But also, they're not the only team. Unfortunately, they were the team that was
They got
made
caught.
as a poster child. Yeah, they were caught and they were made the poster child for it. The New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, they are also part of it. Sorry, Boston. And
she had to throw that in.
New York fans, I'm so sorry, but that is the truth. So many other teams and the MLB have done this, and maybe other leagues too. Who knows, Alex? But I would like to see the Astros overcome this, and maybe this is the one time that I'm not going to be so unbiased. And the reason why is because, there's no fans in the stands. There's no more excuse. Like you said, under the circumstances, they've already been under investigation. They've made it this far. I would like to see them kind of be the comeback kid, kind of earn their way back up and truly show, even within the own Houston fans, show us that, you deserve to be there. I think that we can say that, for even if you're not a Houston fan, show us that you're meant to be there. I think it would be interesting to kind of, relive 2017 and see the LA Dodgers and the Houston Astros back again in the World Series. I think that would be very, very interesting.
That would certainly help the ratings, and we were talking about the NBA final ratings. That would definitely help the ratings in this case. Well, Ashley, look, we come to the end of this first initial Deportes Nation podcast. Like always, it's a pleasure. I'm very excited about where the show is going. The show, the world, the sports world have changed, and we have to change along with it. So for us, we're really on a mission too. And I'll say this not because you're on the air, Ashley, but we need, number one, more Latinas talking sports, period. The fan base, the knowledge, the seguimiento, and you know what that means in Spanish. The following that Latinas have for sports is immense, and you've lived it as part of the NFL Texans as a cheerleader. You've been with us in announcing and talking about sports for many years, but it's sad that we don't have more Latinas talking about sports.
No, it is. I think, Alex, you mentioned to me the other day that I'm the only bilingual, fluent in Spanish and English Latina broadcaster here in Houston.
Look, you're the only one that I know of. Yeah, you're the only one that I know of and do it well and knowledgeable and great with both languages. But I know there are many more out there that want to do this and need to do this, and we need to open the opportunities for them. In many ways, old Uncle Alex here, I'm living through it. I've been through it. I've done it. I'm proud of my so-called quote-unquote career, whatever that means. But we need to think about the next generation, Ashley, and you're at the head of that.
I love it. I'm honored to be the pioneer for this.
And you can and make sure you pay me my $20 because of that comment, right?
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll talk after the show, Alex.
Absolutely. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, we at the end of this first podcast, very excited. Thank you for following us. Thank you for watching us, Ashley. How can people get a hold of you and us and me? I guess the social media world out there, right?
Of course, absolutely. We would love to hear from you. We love talking to our fans, to our listeners. Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Deportes Nation. Guys,
and do we have a TikTok yet? I don't do TikTok. Do you do TikTok yet?
We are working on a TikTok,
we're
Alex.
working on
so, guys, friends, if you want to follow us on TikTok, or maybe not, I don't know. I don't know if you want to see Alex dancing out there. Who knows? But you can definitely catch us on there.
Absolutely not. That's gonna hurt ratings. That's gonna hurt ratings. So anyway,
definitely follow us. We love you guys, and stay tuned. We're excited to be back on air and talk sports with you guys.
Absolutely. So on behalf of all of us here at Deportes Nation, on behalf of Ashley Rodriguez, I got to get this right. Forgive me. I've been drinking too much this morning. I'm Alex Parra. It's a joy. It's a pleasure. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching, for following, and there will be more. Please stay tuned until we come back here on another edition of Deportes Nation.